Hello again. This video is the second video about the written part of the CAE essay. In this occasion, we will describe the second part of the written test and particularly the review. If you remember, the written part had two sections. The first part that we already studied had to do with the development of an essay, which was obligatory. However, the second piece of writing must be one among the next possibilities. Now, for the purpose of this course, we will develop a review. Let's remember that the review is in the second part of the written section of the test. It is optional among the other options. It has the same extension than the essay, and it also has a particular style. But what is a review? There are different types of reviews. We have academic, entertaining. However, all of them follow the same objective, which is basically to give a critical evaluation of something. As the Cambridge Dictionary says, it is a report, generally in a newspaper, magazine, or program, that gives an opinion about a new book, a film, etc. So finally, the review is going to be a text that is going to give us an opinion and a nice description about, it could be a movie, a product, or an experience like a concert, a performance, a play, etc. What is expected in the CAE review? Well, we need to follow the rules of Cambridge, right? So we have to follow the purpose, first of all, which is talking about a detailed topic, right? You have to describe a movie, a film, a restaurant, many things, right? And give the advantages and disadvantages. And of course, and the most important, is given the recommendation. The tone and register in this case is different. It's slightly informal, and you must address directly to the reader using second person singular. You have to use the you a lot. You can also use humor, right? It is allowed. In relation to the structure, it's going to have and follow the same rules of any kind of written text we have studied. We're going to see more about that next. Very importantly, your opinion is the most relevant element in a review. You have to give your opinion and also the recommendations. Recommendations, and very important, are at the end. And this is also relevant. In the Cambridge test, some topics that can appear, they are not necessarily books or films. They could be restaurants, series, musical events, applications, performances, many or high variety of topics. In this slide, I'm showing you the exact format that you will see in the Cambridge test. These are typical examples of the instructions in the review section. What is the importance about this? The importance is to know how to read them, right? How to read the instructions. Why? Because you have to know how to extract the essential. Here in every color, you have to identify what they are asking us to do. In purple, you can see, are making reference to our audience. So we are talking about a website. So we need to adapt our language to that context. Don't forget about this while you're writing your review. In red, we are told that the review is about a film or a book, not a restaurant, not an app. So this is going to be important. In cyan color, it is the theme, right, of this review. In this case, the review is about a book or film, but particularly that is going to focus on somebody who has made an important contribution to society. So it's not any kind of book or film. It must follow this requirement. And finally, in green, the specific points that we need to answer in our review. So it is not about what we want to say. Sometimes they will ask you to answer specific information about the film or book. What about this? What about the structure? The typical structure of a review, it can be a little bit more dynamic than the one we saw in the essay, right? So it can be more changeable, more varied in that way, but this could be a good solution. In paragraph number 1, we were going to write an introduction. What is the introduction in a review? Basically, to introduce the topic in a creative way. You can use rhetorical questions, you can use an anecdote, maybe a quote from the film or the book, etc. But the idea is to capture the attention of the audience. In the second paragraph, we have to present a synopsis, right? And in this case, they're asking us a film or a book. You have to give a brief summary of the story and the main characters. Now, in this case, we have been asked for 2 questions, right? So paragraph number 3 and number 4 should be the answers of these demanded questions, right? So the idea is that these paragraphs could vary according to the demands of the instructions of the review. And paragraph number 5 is going to be a summary of everything you have written and the recommendation. And this is going to be essential. The recommendation is always in the final paragraph, in the conclusive paragraph. Very important, do not forget about the title. Something that is very important to take into account in relation to a review, and which is different from an essay, is that this text is not academic, right? It's a written text with nice language, but the main objective is to make it enjoyable and interesting to read. So how is the review evaluated? Well, with the same criteria we used in the essay, right? These 4 criteria: content, communicative competencies, organization, and language. In terms of the content, like I mentioned before, you must answer everything they are asking you to answer. Otherwise, the task will be incomplete. So try to follow those instructions. Number 2, communicative competences. What do we mean by that? Basically, to adequate your style to, in this case, a review. A review, it's more informal than an essay. However, it is still a formal instance, and it is a written text. So there are some rules that cannot be broken. Number 3, organization. As a text, this must be organized. To connect ideas coherently is fundamental, but do not forget that it should be fluent and amusing. Finally, language. C1 level is required. So here, considering the characteristics of the review, try to show off with great descriptions and use of varied and sophisticated adjectives, as well as literary concepts and technical words we have been using in our literature classes, like archetypes, types of narrators and genres, use of lighting and decorative devices, music, etc., characteristics of the literary movements. So here, you must shine like a diamond. So, after this brief revision of the CAE review, remember that our next evaluation is precisely the creation of a review. Some of the possible ideas will be a review about films, series, characters, poems, or anything we have studied in unit number 2 or is related to the contents of unit number 2. That's all for now. I hope you have had a clear overhaul of the CAE review. See you in the next one.